Me, 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 me. Um.
All right. You ready?
Dude, I was born ready.
All right. Counting down in three, two, one.
What is up? This is the 6 Months Behind podcast. I'm Pat,
I'm Sean.
and this is the week of August the 8th, where we have another sensational batch of Marvel Unlimited comic books to talk about. Um, we have like 5 Spider-Man books and no X-Men books. So there you go. What do you think about the comics this week?
Overall, I thought it was a pretty good week. Bummer, no X-Men comics, but we've gotten plenty.
Yeah,
And there's some good stuff. So,
and I don't know
um,
how they work this out, but it's like, 5 Spider-Man, 3 Avengers, and no X-Men. And who knows how that works, but there you go.
there you go.
There you go. Did you have a
All
good
right.
week?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, it was.
Mine too.
It was okay. Played
Well, okay works.
a really fun session of Dungeons and Dragons last night. Most fun we've had in a long time.
Yeah, you told me you were reading a D&D manual. I thought that was like the last section of the.
I know we got one more, but we're talking about the next. We're wrapping up a campaign now, but in October we'll start a brand new one, and we're moving to the latest edition of Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm
Are you
learning
going to
a
be
new
the dungeon
system.
master again, or are you going to go back to playing?
Probably so.
Probably so. You'll be the dungeon master, or probably so
Yes.
you'll play.
I'll probably be the dungeon
Ah,
master again,
okay,
which is fine.
that's fine.
Anyway, getting into our comic books this week. Well, actually, before we do that, we should also note that we do discuss plot points of these comic books, so there are some light spoilers. If you're trying to avoid that, come back after you've read the books.
And the website is www.6sixmonthsbehind.com, and the email is.
You can reach us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6 months behind at gmail.com.
There you go.
And we're going to go ahead and start off with the Spider-Man books this week with Spider-Man and Deadpool number 2.
Which I read very briefly
Just moments ago.
just moments ago. and I'm liking this book. Okay, it's got the original Spider-Mobile from like 1974 in it. It's got Spider-Man and Deadpool still miscommunicating in it, still busting jokes on each other. I don't know what there is not to like about this book.
Yeah, it's not bad. I sometimes I'm just not a fan of the humor in the Deadpool books, but this is pretty funny. Also, the fact that he thinks Peter Parker's a supervillain,
Yes.
and he doesn't understand that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person. So they're having a conversation about how evil Peter Parker is, and Spider-Man and Miles Morales, who's also there, they're just they're just exchanging awkward looks and sitting quietly.
Yeah, and it's really good book. I'm really enjoying the art that Ed McGuinness is doing also. I think
Yeah,
Ed McGuinness is doing great art and great color on this book too. Sometimes we've discussed this often. I think sometimes the color on a book really gets lost. You look at a cover of that Spider-Gwen book, which I happen to be looking at, and as I happen to have pulled up here, and color really makes a difference in the way you do some of these things. And there's magnificent color in that book too.
Yeah, overall the art is on point, which has been, it's really been the story with Marvel for a while now. All of their books, the art matches the narrative of the book, and it's top quality art.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's not my favorite book, but it's not bad. And
You're not hating on it like you did issue 1.
no, I really didn't enjoy issue 1, but this one was funnier. And
Oh, there you go.
Thing with Deadpool is going to sell gangbusters, so yeah, he's showing up in everybody's book.
Dude, I looked at the sales figures for this. It's selling in gangbusters. Issue 1 is on its 7th reprinting.
7 reprints. Good Lord.
7 reprints.
Understand that reprints in comics are semi-common, but you might have one.
Yes. I mean, what I was thinking,
ridiculous.
There's very few books, but there's a few books I still buy in the stores. And I looked to see what was shipping into the store last week. And when I looked, this book last week was shipping, number 1 was shipping its 7th reprint. And dude, they're reprinting issues 2, 3, 4, 5 are all on reprints. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's good. I don't think it's that good.
No, because usually the only thing that gets reprinted like that, or even close to it, are big event books.
Yeah.
Or, number 1 issues that are, significant. You just don't see a team-up book selling like that. So I'm curious if we're going to see...
That happens in issue 4 or 5 or 6 that makes people want to buy issue 1, or I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe so. Do you think in, around October and November we're going to see a Deadpool Doctor Strange crossover to promote the movie? Or a Luke Cage crossover?
I don't know.
Because apparently that's the strategy for selling books. Stick Deadpool in it, and it sells.
It works for everything else.
Or Spider-Gwen.
That's all I can say. Yeah.
Or Squirrel Girl.
Yes.
Oh, we pause real quick. So I did a little recon last night with one of the girls that plays in our D&D group. I let her read that Patsy Walker Hellcat book, the first issue. Understand this is a 27-year-old, straight white woman who is playing D&D. She's nerdy as all heck. Did not appeal to her.
Really?
Yeah, wasn't her thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought she would have been the target audience.
She is. She is the target audience. And one of the other girls who's in the group, who is of the same age, didn't appeal to her either.
I'll get Amanda to read it next time she's over here.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'll withhold food if she doesn't.
That's funny. Or just, refuse to let her take the dog home.
Yeah. One or the other.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting that not really reaching the audience they want. And her impression was that she kind of felt like they were beating her over the head with the, 20-something millennial girl references. Which they are in that book. I mean, they beat that horse to death.
This is true.
But yeah, she just felt pandered to.
Well,
so yeah, Marvel, maybe your strategy's not working. I took, sample size is 2 girls in a D&D group, so take that for what you will.
Okay.
Anyway,
we're really getting off topic.
Traffic topics.
Traffic topics. I'm sitting there the other night, and with Renee and Amanda.
Okay.
And they're like, "Hey, by the way, we're watching Lord of the Rings with you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" I may have sent you a text about this. They're like, "Yeah, we're willing to watch Lord of the Rings."
Yeah.
Like,
just to preface, this is your wife and daughter.
I was like, "When did this happen? When did your complete turn to being nerds happen?" And I didn't know it. You're like, "Well, we don't know, but we're interested in it." Like,
well, but you also have to consider that Lord of the Rings kind of transcended. It was, everybody wants to see Lord of the Rings.
No. This thing's been out for 20 years. I've been trying to get them to watch it for 20 years, and they've refused.
Because it's nerdy?
I have no idea why.
Okay.
But suddenly, they're willing to watch the director cuts on DVD that are like 4 or 5 hours long a piece.
Okay. That's the Big Bang Theory's influence on your family.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah. And it's
Apparently.
The Big Bang Theory is for geeks and nerddom as a culture what Will and Grace was for gays in the 90s.
Apparently.
Yeah, it just kind of normalized through television. It normalized that sort of behavior, and now geeks run the world, and it's
Yeah,
cool to
there
be
you
a
go.
geek.
Yes.
We won. I'm declaring victory. We won.
There you go. It only took me 52 years.
Uh,
Okay, Silk number 4.
um, I'm enjoying this book
I am
as a
too.
whole. This particular issue was actually not as strong as the first three have been. At least I thought it wasn't bad. It's a good issue. It just wasn't the best issue. But I'm so interested in the story and what's happening that I don't care.
Yeah, but it's this is developing the story.
Right.
I mean, this is going somewhere, and there was a lot of action in it. She's still trapped in the Goblin King's.
Underground layer.
Thank you. I didn't want to say lair. I was trying to think of a better word. I didn't want to say kingdom. I didn't want to say castle. So we'll go with
I mean,
lair.
it's literally a stone castle.
It's basically a city underground.
Well, they show it at some point, and it's literally a castle in the sewers of New York City.
Yeah, so which I didn't figure out how all that works. I never figure out how all these underground things work. But anyway, so she's down there and she's fighting them, and finally she gets captured twice, I think, maybe 3 times, and she winds up dealing with the Goblin King, and it's a good issue, but you can tell they're transitioning to other things, which are setting up what's going to happen in 5, 6, and 7, and it was a good issue. It was a good issue.
Speaking of, and this is something Marvel's doing as a whole, they're giving you not necessarily introductions, but they're cueing you on changes in story arcs. Have you noticed?
Yeah, they're not afraid to put a filler issue in there.
Well, what I meant was, if you look on the cover and on the inside of the cover and at the end of it, it's talking about, this is the story that's going to happen in the next 3 issues. It says, this such and such story arc starts now.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it a little more episodic, and I think that helps readers out in the long run.
Well,
and they're doing that with a bunch of their books.
It also helps you sell trade paperbacks.
Oh yeah, it sure does, doesn't it?
If you sell it in 4 or 6 issue storylines, well, that fits very nicely into a trade paperback.
Yeah, which you can charge $20 for.
Yeah. So it's amazing just how these stories just surprisingly wrap up with issues 6 and 12 and 18 and start over.
Or 3 or
Yeah. Just surprising how that happens.
Yeah, this who's the dude that shows up to save her? Because she gets captured. To reiterate, her and
Espectro.
Her and his name. Stryker is the dude's name that pushed her over the wall and betrayed her, and
yeah.
Dude with the ridiculous
is the dude who saves her.
Okay, I don't know who that is, so
it's the mysterious dude who saves her.
Okay, that's all we know about him.
That's all we know about him.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. And I'm kind of enjoying the story where she's trying to redeem herself, and she's trying to do right by her brother, and she's trying to be a good hero, and her life's just falling apart, and she accidentally, ticks off her friends because she didn't show up to a thing, and they're mad at her, but they can't know that she's doing what she's doing, which is, your classic Spider-Man treatment. And it's really good. And you get a little scene with her dad. So, yeah, well, overall a really good book.
Okay, I Googled him, but it came up in Spanish, so that didn't work out for me.
Oh, well. All right, then. We'll let it sit for now and move on to Spider-Gwen number 5.
Matter of fact, everything Spectro is coming up.
Is Spectro a word in Spanish? I don't know Spanish.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's probably why.
And every Wikipedia reference is coming up Spanish in Marvel.
So, what did you think of Spider-Gwen #5?
I didn't get to read but the first few pages,
Okay.
and it was. Am I right in assuming that they're really taking Frank Castle and turning him from the police sergeant into the Punisher, and he's becoming obsessed with Spider Woman, also known as Spider Gwen?
I think that's what's happening.
I'm enjoying that storyline. Yes.
Yeah, I am too. They've really, and it's almost a classic Frank Castle story, but it's got a little bit of a different spin on it. And I don't know. There's just something interesting to see about that. Watching
Yeah.
someone like him, become what he becomes. Watching that transformation. And
Yeah.
what's going on with Daredevil? Did you see any of the bits with Daredevil?
I didn't in this issue, but I have in the past.
Okay. See, I haven't.
I mean, the Kingpin took his fall, and Daredevil took his place.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta read those back issues. That's what I got from backing up and reading the previous Spider-Gwen stories, not in this series, but from Volume 1, where you get the Matt Murdock Daredevil backstory in this one. Is basically Daredevil was Kingpin's lawyer. Kingpin, I forget where he is. He's out of the picture right now, so Daredevil is simply his. I'm trying to think of the Italian word for it. Is basically controlling things right now for him.
Yeah, keeping the seat warm.
Yes.
And probably isn't intending to give it up when Wilson Fisk shows back up.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's the idea that I get in this issue, because he and Frank Castle he and Captain Stacy have a little interaction. That's actually not a little interaction at all.
It's consigliere.
What?
That's the Italian word for it. His consigliere.
Oh, okay. You're just
watch
full
the
of
Godfather movies sometimes.
Okay. I don't really care for those movies.
Dude, you don't enjoy the Godfather movies?
Hot take. Unpopular opinion. I don't like the Godfather movies. Sorry, man.
Seriously? They're like the Godfather 1 and 2 are on any list in the top 10, and in most lists are the greatest movies of all time.
They're not bad. It's just not. They're just not. Gangster movies in particular. It's a genre that I just am not in love with. I'm the same with westerns.
But they're just so far beyond gangster movies. I mean, there's so much character development and plots there, man. There's just so much going on in that movie.
Listen, I haven't seen the movie since I was a teenager, so maybe I need to see them again. Moving on.
Need to go back and watch The Godfather again.
Moving on. Enjoyed Spider-Gwen. This is taking place in the Spider-Gwen universe, right? This isn't...
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is a different universe.
Yes.
Because I would get confused occasionally because Spider-Gwen has shown up in our universe.
She comes to our universe. She has a portal where she comes to our universe occasionally, but she exists in her own universe.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
it's when she's hanging out with the web guys in their universe.
That's right. Yeah, Web Warriors. Yeah, she's doing that thing, and occasionally shows up in ours. Because she was at that big party that Patsy Walker and She-Hulk threw.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying the book. I'm interested in fleshing out this universe where things are a little different. Yeah, good book. Art's also really good. Fantastic art. The cover on this issue in particular is really good.
Yeah, we were discussing that cover and that cover earlier. It's very good.
Spider-Man 2099 was also enjoyable. If it was a little bit of filler, you had an action scene that went on a little longer than I thought a fight scene that went on longer than I really think it should have. Probably just to fill a couple pages, but that's all right. It starts a new story. They're researching Inhumans at Alchemex, and turns out one of your researchers is an Inhuman and has been exposed to the Terrigen Mist, and now you've got a problem on your hands. And then what's his name shows up? The Inhuman that always wants to kill the other Inhumans. We saw him in S.H.I.E.L.D. this past season. What's his name?
I don't know. Dude, you can't count on me for names. Okay, you
Okay.
Lash. I'm reading it. Lash. It's in my notes.
Lash. That's it. Yeah.
Lash.
Yeah. I always think he looks like Lobo, but
He does look like Lobo now that you mention it.
yeah. Anyway, that's basically the gist of that whole issue. Enjoying it. I've been enjoying the whole thing. This book's not the strongest showing in the series, but it's still a good issue. Still a good book.
Good.
Then,
This is a book I didn't even get to open or look at. It's like the one book I didn't get to read.
Okay. Did you read Amazing Spider-Man number 7?
I did.
Now,
I was a little, it was okay. I enjoyed the interaction between Spider-Man and Cloak and Dagger.
yeah, me
Everything
too.
else about it was like,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a lot of exposition, but you really start to see that things are slowly coming unraveled for Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's definitely got problems.
And I think he's got a number of people sniffing on his trail to figure out that he's Spider-Man. Like that guy that the researcher, the scientist that he gives the shade to.
Right.
That guy's not an idiot and can probably figure out his secret. He at one point he's on the phone with, his various branches of his company, and they're all like, "Hey, we really need you here. We need you to do this." And he's like, "Nope, can't right now." And he's just blowing everyone off, which is what he always does when he's Spider-Man. And it always ends terribly. He's probably going to lose his company, or I don't know what's going to happen. But we know by the end panel that he lost something of value.
Yeah, I assume she's getting into a Spider Slayer outfit.
Yeah, that's what I took from it. Is it's one of those Spider.
Yeah, I'm not
Slayer.
sure what it is, but it looks like a Spider Slayer, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the Spider Slayer robot.
Okay.
All right, well, it's either that or the new Spider-Mobile. One or the
I
other.
couldn't tell what it was, and we're not giving away a spoiler here because I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, also good. While all of the issues in the Spider-Man books this week, some of them were not the strongest efforts. Overall, I'm really enjoying the fleshing out of the Spider's characters and stories.
And when you look at all these books, you realize they're building a big Spider-Man universe.
Oh yeah, like that seems to have been, particularly with Spider Island, which is where you introduced a lot of these characters, or you either introduced a lot of these characters or brought them back into relevance. You understood that they were building. They're almost building their own universe here, where like the X-Men.
Go back and read Spider Island.
It's like the X-Men. They don't necessarily have to cross over with everyone. They can just do their own thing. And you could have Spider-Man stuff going on and never run across the Avengers.
Right.
Speaking of the Avengers, we're going to move on to
we have no X-Men books this week.
Yeah, no X-Men books this week.
As we discussed earlier.
We'll move on to our Avengers books for the week with Ultimates number 4. Now, you were telling me this was a really good issue, and it was. But I was confused.
Okay. What were you confused about?
This is Blue Adam or what's his name? Blue Marvel. Sure.
What you get here is you get the origin of Blue Marvel, and you get the origin of his nemesis in this issue, and all of that's there for a reason, because they're outside the boundaries of our universe. And forgive me because it's not in the notes, and I don't remember the name of his nemesis, but they're outside and they find his nemesis, and they do flashbacks giving the origin of both of them. And it discusses Blue Marvel's powers and how he got there, which I'm glad, because he's not a character I'm familiar with.
Yeah, that was the real thing, is I'm not familiar with him, and I understand they were giving the origin story, but there's a lot of backstory I'm not caught up on, I guess.
Well, but that was the purpose of this issue, was to catch you up on it. Where I really thought it got interesting was those last couple of panels where you see not just galactic characters, but supreme galactic characters talking about what these Ultimates are doing and saying, we can't let them do that.
Oh
And,
yeah,
and
I mean
we're not
when
trying to go
Eternity
to.
shows up at the end.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to go to those kind of spoilers.
Well,
but
we gave a tag.
when you got Eternity and Galactus sitting there saying, "Hey, we got to stop them," you got problems.
Yeah, you got big problems. Eternity, I did recognize. I've read enough. I've read enough Doctor Strange to know him. Which I had thought he died, but I guess he came back.
They all died before Secret Wars, and they're all back.
Yeah, I guess so. We don't know about
I've given up trying to figure out how all these things died during Secret Wars and how they all came back. One of these issues has got a Watcher in it, and I'm like, well, I wonder if Watu is still alive.
Yeah,
they brought him back.
Or alive again. Yeah. And we don't know about the Living Tribunal either.
I assume they were all reborn.
Yeah, I assume they were as well. Because if you remember, the Living Tribunal died just before all those incursions started to happen.
Well, he died fighting the Beyonders, I believe.
Right, yeah. That's how they got the power that they got.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Anyway, Ultimates number 4, really good. This has been the strongest Avengers book that they've been putting out. And I even though this issue has a lot of backstory about what's going on and these characters in the what is it, it's not the negative zone, it's the what are they calling it here? Outside. It's outside of everything. Right. I'm interested to see what's going on there. That's always really interesting.
Yeah, they're literally headed outside of reality.
Right. But yeah, apparently there's some big implications going on.
Yes.
When you have those two cosmic characters who are, working together now.
Yeah.
A-Force number 2.
Which I really enjoyed.
I really enjoyed this book too. I like all the heroes and characters involved. And I like their interactions together.
Sure.
That I think is really the appeal, is that all the personalities of the heroes involved are they don't necessarily play well together, but they play off each other very well.
What you have is Singularity, who is brought over from Battle World, who is assembling She-Hulk, Medusa, Captain Marvel, eventually Dazzler. I feel like I'm leaving someone out.
Yeah.
The girl in Japan.
Yeah, the witch girl, the one with the witch powers that they talk about in this issue. Boy, Dazzler got really dark, didn't she? She's one pissed off lady.
Dude, she's been up and down and around so many times. I don't know how she's still has her sanity. But the thing is, Singularity knows who all these people can be because of her experience in Battle World, and sees them as they can be and not as they are. It's like she's seeing the best in all of them, even though they're not seeing it in themselves. And she has a different view of everyone. This refreshing, innocent view, because she's seeing it in them, even though they're not seeing it in themselves, and she's bringing it out of them, which is pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, of course, that's going to be the crux of the whole team. They're going to rally around her. She's going to be the glue that holds the team together. Yeah, man, I'm totally on board with what's going on here. And they're still fighting this antimatter dude that I'm sure they'll wrap up in issue 3.
I would assume, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, man, I'm in for the long haul.
Yeah, I am too. It was a very good book. New Avengers number 6.
I have enjoyed this thing from issue 1.
Yeah.
I like this team. The writing's good. The art's good. I like the villain. I particularly like. I think that's what's really drawn me to this series. Is I really like this villain. Villains, I should say.
Morden, I
Morden,
believe.
Yeah, Morden.
Yep.
I like him. He's got that sort of Lovecraft thing going on that I have an affinity for. Plus, you understand that he's working in tandem with the Maker, and that guy's terrifying.
Right.
And you have time travel in this issue where the future versions of these Avengers come back and say, you have to stop this guy and we have to do it now. And I don't know what that voice was. Yeah.
Oh, it was good. It was good. It was
it was real good. I enjoyed it.
I was talking about the voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't realize that Billy Kaplan and Hulkling were a thing.
I thought you did.
Maybe I forgot, but no, it surprised me when they embraced one another.
This is the new Marvel, man.
Yes,
they're gay, and yes, they embrace one another again.
It didn't bother me. I didn't expect it. I mean, he literally just grabs him and kisses him out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, all right. There were a number of things I expected to happen, and that wasn't it.
Yeah. I thought you had seen that in the previous issues. I think in issue 5, he was talking about him being his husband.
I must have had a lapse in memory.
Okay.
Because, no, it caught me off guard.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, overall, strong showing from the Avengers books this week. All of these series are ones that I will continue reading.
Very good. Very good.
Then it brings us to Old Man Logan number 2.
The 616 universe itself.
Yeah. What did you think of this issue?
I'm enjoying this. I wish this would move along a little bit faster, but I understand what they're doing and that they're taking Old Man Logan from the future, and he's taking his future memories and confronting villains from the past. Now, in his future, he has a problem with the Hulk and the Hulk's family, but that Hulk is Bruce Banner and Bruce Banner's children. And he comes to confront the Hulk in this age, but it's not Bruce Banner, it's Amadeus Cho. So he's got timeline issues here, because what he really needs is to find Bruce Banner and kill Bruce Banner, which he's determined to do. The problem is when he finds Amadeus Cho here, and the fight doesn't end well for him to start with, and it's really the wrong person he's looking for. So overall, it was a good story. I enjoyed it, and I really believe they're going somewhere with it. And I like what they're doing with the Old Man Logan story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that you could pick up the pacing a little bit, but overall, loving this book.
I enjoy what they're doing with him in the X-Men title he's in more than what they're doing here, but I'm hoping they're eventually going to get there.
Yeah, I'm a little confused as to how he's doing both, but
I think if you go back to issue 1 was literally the moment he appeared in Times Square. Mm-hmm. So I believe it's kind of
it's offset.
It's offset. I think this is a little
this is happening before. Okay.
He joins the X-Men, and I really like how this book ended also.
Because isn't it Jean Grey that finds him just wandering around northern Canada?
Yeah.
Or he's living in northern Canada or something like that?
Yes.
So, yeah, I imagine we'll see him there at some point. And he will.
I imagine what you have here is a 6-issue arc that will have him going to Canada when it's over.
Yeah, probably so. I think you're right. Moving on to the Totally Awesome Hulk number 3.
As I said, good ending to this book, setting up issue 3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome Hulk number 3. I actually did read this. I'm normally not a Hulk guy, but I did read this issue. It was all right, but you were kind of disappointed in it. You told me.
You know,
So
I understand the storyline they're building here. The storyline they're building is Amadeus Cho has taken over however he did it, which every issue they're giving you a couple of pages of how he took over the gamma radiation and became the Hulk from the Hulk. So every issue you're getting a couple of pages of how that happened, which is a very slow story. Okay, a couple of pages in the issue, we'll get there about issue 100. And Amadeus Cho's whole point is he can control the Hulk without anger. Okay, I get that. But we got a really slow story going here, and you got other storylines with his sister and with She-Hulk. And I just think the whole thing is moving kind of slow. I just don't. I just don't think it's going very. I'm a Hulk guy,
yeah,
and
I
it's
was
just
going
not
to
doing
say.
much for me.
Yeah, and I
I'm
wonder.
really a Hulk guy. It's just not doing much for me.
And we were talking earlier, and I wonder if this is just some filler type stuff, so that they're just kind of biding time until it lines up with another story.
Here's the thing, and this is giving out serious 6 months from now spoilers. They have major plans for the Hulk and Bruce Banner and Amadeus Cho in Civil War. But if you're just killing time with Amadeus Cho and the Hulk until Civil War comes out, basically, which will probably be about issue 6 or 7 at this point. Okay, so
Sure.
because they're winning the Civil War now, so you're probably talking issue 6 or 7 for this book. Totally Awesome Hulk 6 or 7. Why put the book out? Why not wait? If you're killing time until Civil War comes out, why not just put the book out then? I don't understand, because they're doing this with a couple of these books, and I really don't understand it. It's just like they're just filler issues until you get to this point. It's like we're going to talk about Captain America in a few minutes. And it's like the Captain America is just filling time until we reach this Avengers crossover that we're going to reach in a couple of weeks. I don't understand. Why not just put the book out then? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, because I think of it in the way that they kind of delayed the Miles Morales Spider-Man book, the way they've delayed the Black Panther book.
Panther book.
Yeah. Which I'm really looking forward to reading. But it doesn't. We're not going to get it for a little bit longer.
Then we're not getting the Black Panther book for another 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, like they just started publishing that Black Panther book 2-3 months ago.
Yeah, so I mean, it feels like this whole book is just killing time until Civil War, and if that's what you're doing, I don't understand why.
Yeah. Now with the
Because
Captain
they're
America,
doing serious things with the Hulk, with Bruce Banner, with Amadeus Cho in Civil War, and if that's the case, why put this book out?
yeah.
So anyway,
With Captain America, I understand, because they wanted to introduce the new team.
yeah, and you got the 75th anniversary coming up, and
Sure.
and I get that, I do.
Yeah.
I do, but I don't understand this one. This one just leaves me dumbfounded completely.
My guess is they wanted to get readers acclimated to the idea of Amadeus Cho being the Hulk, maybe.
And let me tell you something. I like the Hulk. I like Amadeus Cho. Greg Pak is writing this thing. This is the guy who did World War Hulk, who did Planet Hulk, who has written Hulk for 10 years now and written great storylines. It's drawn by Frank Cho, who is a great artist. They can do great work. And I don't know what they're doing here, man. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you're really not digging it, but
No, I'm really not. I'm really not.
I thought it was okay. Yeah, it does feel like it's a slow start. It'll probably get better.
Dude, if you're going to have the Hulk fight Fin Fang Foom, have him pick him up by the tail and fling him into a couple of mountains. Like smash his head 3 or 4 times upside the mountain. All right, don't just, have Fin Fang Foom swallow him and him not know what's happening and then come up with some kind of creative way to not get mad. Really? That's bad, man. That's bad. That's dude.
All right. I never thought I'd hear the day where you didn't like a Hulk book.
It's bad, man.
Speaking of bad, this Red Wolf number 3 is not good. I just don't care, man. There's nothing that I really find appealing about this book.
I want to like this book. I want to like this character. There's just nothing here. It's got like 2 pages of action, an issue, and then it's got 20 pages of politics with people I don't care about.
Yeah. And that's the thing is this where they are, this new character, all the side characters introduced in this.
You have a small town in New Mexico where the sheriff has run the drugs out of town, and the mayor is trying to bring the drugs back into town so he can get money into town, so he can get development into town, and they're trying to kill the sheriff, and Red Wolf is protecting the sheriff, and there's all these mystery people running around, and it's all happening, and Red Wolf is there in some kind of mysterious fashion, and you don't care because you don't understand any of the backstory. Right. You just don't care.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't see any reason to care. And they're telling a Western. This is a Western story. And that's fine. Now, I'm biased against Westerns. I don't really care for Westerns, with the exception of Tombstone, because it's Tombstone. But
here's the thing. I mean, Red Wolf is a character that they carried over, say character and carried over real fast together. A character that they carried over from Battle World in that Avenger series that was set in Timely. Okay, and he was a very interesting character. Good story there. So they carry him over, and the first issue is actually set in 1872. It's actually set there in Timely, and I thought, okay, this will be interesting. It's got possibilities. And then they bring him here to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, and it's been crap ever since.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, just not digging it. Don't have a reason to. I'll be honest, I read like the first 4 pages and then just skimmed the rest of it.
Yeah. It's one of those things, if we were in a comic store, I'd scratch it off my pull list and never read it again.
Yeah. And the thing is, I haven't looked at what the future releases, but somehow I can't believe this book's selling.
I haven't looked at the sales figures, but I can't believe it is either.
Yeah. On to something I really did enjoy is Weird World number 3.
It probably isn't selling.
It's not, but just let me live.
Okay.
Let me enjoy it while it lasts.
Okay.
Because it is so far up my alley that I just really love this book. The art's good. The story is great. It's the fantasy story that I've always wanted. It incorporates characters that I really enjoy. I'm digging the team. You've got this teenage girl from Earth who was, her plane crashed over the Bermuda Triangle and she ended up in Weird World. She met this female barbarian who likes to kill wizards for the purposes of their quest to defeat Morgan Le Fay. They have to team up with a wizard who is also a cat with wings. It's really interesting. Morgan Le Fay is doing her thing, which is never good. And you actually...
Who's is that that's dying with Morgan Le Fay?
I don't know. I was actually going to ask you, and I don't know who that is, but it gives you a little glimpse behind the curtain of Morgan Le Fay, and you kind of understand why she's doing what she's doing, which is a thing I always like when they do with villains. because sometimes you have a villain that's very one-dimensional. They're just evil to be evil and don't really have a purpose. This gives you complexity to a villain. This gives you insight into why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah, it does. And I enjoyed that part of it. Actually, that was probably the part of it that I did enjoy. And it wasn't, I will say this, I enjoyed this issue 3 more than I enjoyed issues 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, this is it's definitely gotten better.
Yes. And I enjoyed the art in it.
And at one point, there's a giant fire creature that comes to terrorize the town, and another lady shows up with a big mech thing that she's powering with magic that I didn't understand, but it was cool looking. A watcher shows up, a female watcher. That's interesting. That's probably the most interesting thing that happened. I was like, oh, wow. Because there's a watcher for Weird World.
That's right. That's where I saw a watcher. I knew somewhere this week in one of these books I saw a watcher. That's where I saw a watcher at. Yeah.
Her name is Edda. She's the watcher of Weird World, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, great book. Love it. Can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah. Okay. Miss Marvel number 4.
Another book that I'm enjoying, another strong showing from Marvel, in my opinion. What I'm really enjoying here is the little insights that I'm getting into Muslim culture that I just don't get in my day-to-day life. And so it helps me understand it a little better. And I understand it's a comic book and it may not necessarily be representative of real life, but it's more than what I'm getting in my daily life because I live in Alabama.
It's more than you get from Donald Trump.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, yeah, I like this book. You know, you have the whole scene with like where her brother and his girlfriend want to get married, but she's a different sect of their religion or race. I forget exactly what it is. Like she's from Pakistan or something. I forget exactly what the exchange is, but her parents don't like it. And then they talk about it a little bit, and all of a sudden they're talking about her moving in, and Kamala's like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, she can have your room. And they're like, what? Where am I gonna? I'm gonna move. What? Oh crap!
You know the honest truth.
What?
This is the difference between me and you, because I like skimmed over all of that. I was. I like skimmed over all of that until I saw Iron Man. When I saw the panel with Iron Man in it, I thought, oh, this will be interesting. And that's when I started reading.
Yeah, and then she gets called in for a thing with Iron Man.
And don't get me wrong. It's not that I wasn't interested. I've just had so much of this teenage angst in these Marvel comics that I'm just so far over it. I mean, from some of the Spider books to Patsy Walker to Miss Marvel to I've just had so much of being beat over the head with it. To Miles, I'm just over it, brother. I'm just dude. No more.
Yeah, I understand. Man. You don't care about teenagers and their plights. I understand.
I don't care about teenagers and their boyfriends and their girlfriends and their problems. I don't care. I don't. I'm just over it. Okay, I'm just over it, man.
Anyway, she teams up with Iron Man to handle a thing. It doesn't really... Yeah, fails miserably and feels like crap for it because she feels like she was trying to prove herself and got in over her head. You know, I really like this book. The thing I like about it is the personal struggle that she's having. Call it the Spider-Man effect, where you have the teenager who's trying to be a superhero and keep his life together and failing miserably at it.
I enjoyed all of that, and I enjoyed the interaction between her and the Avengers, and some of it was this issue, some of it was last issue, where she's trying to juggle everything in her life that she's doing. I enjoyed all of that. I just didn't. I just think a little bit of it was it's just a little bit too much.
Okay.
That I skimmed over some of it.
We'll agree to disagree. I understand that, it's not your thing, and I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah,
The different aspect, but there are aspects of the book that you do enjoy, which is, a testament to the writing, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So another series. See, and the thing is, back when the number 1 was coming out, knowing who Kamala Khan was, I was just on the fence about it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be interesting or not. And I always look forward to it. I'm always glad when I see it in the queue.
Yeah, and it's not that I'm going to stop reading it. I'm going to continue reading it. I just kind of skimmed over some of this. I was in a hurry, had a lot of books to read, and I was just like, yeah, okay. Family stuff. Turn.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, moving on to Captain America Sam Wilson number 6.
He's still a werewolf.
No, at the end of this book, he is no longer a werewolf.
At the end of the book, at the beginning of the book,
he's
and
still
all
a werewolf.
throughout the book, he's still a werewolf.
Honestly, man, if they had continued the werewolf thing into the next story arc, I was probably going to jump ship. But this issue, it ended strong. He beats up the Serpent Society. One of them, who was kind of on the straight and narrow and then turns back again. She helps him out. You got the new Red Wing, who I think is going to be an interesting character.
The new Falcon. Red Wing's the bird that helps him.
That's right. The new Falcon, who has a bond with the Red Wing bird. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this issue. It was better than it was a decent resolution. It also got into some of the, Captain America fighting the evil capitalists type thing.
There's a 2-page spread toward the end of this issue where he contemplates what to do with those capitalists.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that took this from being a mediocre issue to being a very good issue, because Sam Wilson is faced with a moral dilemma as to what to do with these guys. And he can arrest them all, but if he does, he knows it may very well lead to an economic collapse. Even though they're all guilty, even though they all deserve to be arrested, even though he's got the evidence to arrest them, arresting them all could very well lead to the economic collapse of America. Right. He can't.
Right. He would end up hurting more people if he did this than if he did.
So he just lets them go.
All but one of them.
Yeah, and it's a dilemma he's faced with, it was good to see that explored in his character. And if you go back to the beginnings of Sam Wilson and what he went through, where he was a character who was raised up from the projects and was a social worker and everything he went through, you know how hard a decision that was for him, and it made it a very good issue. Even if he was a werewolf at the time, it made it a very good issue, and it really helped develop his character as Captain America. And even further in the next couple of pages, where you saw it had negative publicity ramifications for him, it helped develop his character.
Right. Yeah, and that was something I really enjoyed about this book. Typically, my stance is I read comic books to get away from everything going on in politics, so I don't like politics in my comic books. This one is an exception to that, because it really played into Sam Wilson's character so well, and ultimately what it means to be Captain America.
Yes, and that's what a lot of this story has been about, and it's been lost because they're doing this stupid. They did this stupid werewolf storyline, which they.
Yeah, it almost felt like they were trying to tell two stories.
They could have done this story without turning Sam Wilson, Captain America, into a werewolf, and it just they lost so much of the story with that plot device. They lost part of this. They lost the impact of what they were telling.
Right, I agree, and I discussed a couple of weeks ago about it felt like two different stories were going on.
Yes.
And that they had this one story where he's fighting the Serpent Society, and it has all these, it's all this social commentary, which is what I was enjoying about the book. And then you just wedged in a werewolf story and turned him into a werewolf, and it just didn't fit with any of it.
No,
it didn't make any sense.
Nope.
But they clear up that issue at the end. You've gotten introductions to the whole team. Yeah, man. Looking forward to the new story arc.
Yeah, and the new story arc is going to be good.
All right.
Did we figure out what that thing's called?
No. What they're calling the next story arc?
Yeah. I'm on a mission now.
Okay. I'm also looking for it. This makes great radio.
Dead air. Yep.
Pleasant Hill.
Pleasant Hill.
Assault on Pleasant Hill.
Yes, which is the Avengers crossover. It's a crossover of all the Avengers books. I think it's gonna this Captain America's book is gonna be in it. It is, and this is not a spoiler for anyone. This is this is where Captain America is going to regain his youth. God help you if you haven't heard that yet. Okay, I don't know what rock you were living under. That's going to happen in this storyline. I think it might cross over into the Iron Man books. This is a huge crossover that's coming, and it should be showing up in Unlimited. It's not going to show up next week. Hopefully, it will show up in the week after.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yep.
So, moving on, there's no Star Wars books this week. None. So let's go ahead and go through our miscellaneous stuff.
Do we ever read these?
No, I never do, because I just don't. They're the Infinite comic line, which are basically digital comics, and they don't affect the 616 universe. They're kind of just off to the side, and so I don't care to read them. That's not to say they're bad. I'm sure they're probably pretty good. They'd probably be entertaining if I read them, but I already spend so much time reading all the other books that they don't even make it into the read pile.
Yeah.
They get left on the shelf.
Marvel's Captain America, Civil War Prelude, Infinite Comic #1, Amazing Spider-Man Silk, the Spider-Fly Infinite Comic #2. Couldn't care less.
Amazing Spider-Man Silk, the Spider-Fly Effect, which makes me think it's a Butterfly Effect ripoff. Yeah. They go back in time and do something, and it changes the future. And yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read them. Sorry. If you care about this stuff, let us know. If enough people care about it, maybe we'll start reading it. But for now, it gets shuffled. It gets taken out with the trash.
There you go. What was your favorite comic of the week?
World, hands down.
There you go. I think it was A-Force. I really enjoyed that A-Force book.
Yeah, that book is really good. I'm enjoying that, and I'm interested to see where it's going.
Yeah. For the classic read of the week, last week at Comic-Con, was it 2 weeks ago at Comic-Con, they introduced The Defenders that is coming out on Netflix, and Marvel has put some of the Defenders books in Unlimited. I think issues like 1 through 12 are there. It's Defenders Series 1. And in the Defenders, issues 9 and 10 and Avengers Series 1, number 117 and 118, they have a crossover. And they wind up fighting each other. Really entertaining storyline. That's a Defender Series 1, issues 9 and 10, and Avengers Series 1, issues 117 and 118. Great storyline. And the two teams wind up fighting each other. Of course, eventually they wind up on the same page, fighting some supervillain who caused it all. It's a Doctor Strange supervillain. You would probably enjoy it.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about, the series.
It's a very good read. It's something as the Defenders come closer. We're going to get the Luke Cage Netflix series about a month from now. That Defender series we'll probably get about mid next year, late next year. It's you're going to be hearing a lot about the Defenders in time to come. Hopefully, they'll have the entire Defenders Series 1 in Unlimited by that point.
Oh, I'm certain
Hopefully.
they will. I'm certain they
You'd
will.
like to think. Yeah.
They've been doing it for Luke Cage and Iron Fist, so yeah, I mean you'll probably have a little spotlight in the Discover page about, get to know the Defenders and all that stuff.
But see, but here's the thing: the Defenders that are there aren't the Defenders that are in Netflix.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Not all
because
of them.
The original Defenders were like Doctor Strange, Submariner, Silver Surfer, and Hulk.
Oh yeah, it didn't become. It
never became Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones.
Yeah, those are really the Marvel Knights types, but they're making them the Defenders because the Defenders have always been your like New York Hell's Kitchen street level team.
Not really, no.
Okay,
in a way, yes.
For the last, that's the narrative
for
that's
the last
always
20
assigned to
years.
them.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Which is apparently all that counts in comic books these days. The last 20 years. Lord knows everybody's had their stories rewritten in the last 20 years.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. But that is the end of our comic books for this week. If you want to get in touch with us, email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That is the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Also, check out our website at
www.6monthsbehind.com.
And with that, we're going to go for the week. Pat, do you have any wisdom to impart to our listeners?
I have no wisdom today.
No, hashtag no wisdom. Hashtag no wisdom. Not all wisdom.
There you go.
All wisdom matters. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Peace.